but Jasper Webster is from Smarter Communities, which is one of the largest strata management companies in Australia. So I will share. Jasper, if you want to share your screen from here.
Yeah, I'll share. Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Jasper. I work for, sorry, I'm just getting my screen up while we do this. Is everyone seeing this now? Brilliant. Yeah, I work for Smarter Communities, who are one of Australia's biggest strata companies. We manage buildings in Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, and some in Adelaide as well. My job is, I was brought on a couple of years ago. I'm a solar engineer, and to essentially help start up a sustainability team within that. So we essentially provide consulting and advising services for strata committees looking to do any sorts of sustainability projects, mainly solar, of course, EV charging, and then there's plenty of other projects too. And I'll go into some of the details of essentially how these things differ from standard projects, standalone homes. I think what I want to do is sort of give you guys as community energy groups, and I've got experience in my local community energy group in Sydney, who I work for as well, as if someone comes to you, how, what can you give to them? And there's plenty of resources out there, but some of this knowledge is really great to have. So for solar in apartment blocks, it really depends on the type of building that the owner is in. And typically it lies within these four types of building setups. And there is a fifth there that I haven't written, which is townhouses. First, individual solar systems. If you're in a small block, and by that I mean up to about 8 or 9 units, you're most likely going to see solar being implemented individually. So every owner has their own setup, their own panels, their own inverter. And this is the most economic way to do things. It's also easy to often vote these things through the strata, as you don't need, obviously, everyone to buy into the setup. As we raise in how many units are in the block, we're looking at this soul share unit, and I've put that in bold. There's a diagram on the right as to how that works. That is essentially a device that is made by a Melbourne company, Illume, who we've been working with really closely for the last 2 years. Essentially, there is one solar array on the roof, and then that gets split to everyone's individual units via this device, and it works really well. The only reason that I generally don't recommend it for smaller buildings is just due to it's a fixed cost, and the economics don't really stand up as you get smaller and smaller. But it works really well, and it reduces the output to the grid as well, as it's trying to maximize how much solar is used on site. And these guys work really well at helping committees understand their product and to help them guide them along the way. So these guys are a really good resource in themselves. Next, if you're in quite a big building, often you will see that you don't have enough roof space to send solar to all of the units. So as Robin mentioned about his solar project, they have a lot of units, but they have a lot of roof space too. They were able to fit a lot of solar up on the roof, but even still, hard to get that to all of the units within the building. Likely you will have high common area bills, and so solar going there is the best way. It's great because you can as well, like Robin mentioned, use connect EVs up to your common area as well in future, which means that you can send solar there too. And then if you're in a really big building, you're likely going to be in an embedded network, which is really tough. And I'm happy to go into that in more detail. But yeah, that is quite tricky if you are in one of them. With EV charging, again, lots of options. It's essentially just how you work out your wires. At the end of the day, it's all about how you are going to charge effectively and without too much cost to the owner's corporation. Obviously, there's a few different methods. In most buildings, I would recommend what's called a backbone. Essentially, this is setting up the electrical infrastructure to allow anyone to, when they buy an EV, to just buy a charger and potentially some cabling, and then connected into that backbone. You see on that photo on the right, there is that is the cable tray that is already there. And it might include some work on your switchboard as well as some other electrical boards as well. And that is a big owners corp solution that needs to happen as well. In smaller buildings, individual charges is often the best way to go about things. I've put in communal charges there as well, although I recommend avoiding them if you can. I just see them personally as creating a lot of havoc in future as demand rises. And often buildings don't have the car spaces to allow for many communal charges. Happy to be proved wrong with any good examples, but there are a lot of logistics that need to be worked out for that. These are some other projects. This is pulled from Wattblock. If you haven't heard of Wattblock, please check them out. They are a group also based in Sydney. Brett from there is probably the leading expert in strata and has been doing this for a long time. So please check this out. The idea here is there is a lot that you can do for strata. So even if solar is not an option because of your roof, even if EVs aren't looking like they're going to make it into the building soon, or you don't even have a car park, please know that owners who are passionate about climate change can do a lot with their OC. You know, windows, for instance, are a common asset a lot of the time. And just making sure you get onto those sorts of projects is really great. So this is a long process. As Neil mentioned, these projects can take 5 years to happen. I've been in a job for 2 years. We try and make things happen quickly, but it doesn't always happen. I think when someone comes to you, you need to help them build that groundswell. That is going to be the way that these projects happen. Building that committee engagement is really crucial. Often when you've got the committee versus the owners, the committee often have a lot more influence over the rest of the owners, and it's just really important that you've got them on side. So as well, if you've got some funding with you, that really helps. Pretty sure Robin mentioned that. Getting quotes is essential, making sure these are all good, making sure that these are tailor-made to your building. And this isn't just for solar, this is for EV charging. Make sure that the demand is the solution that is proposed. These are all things that you guys can help your inquiring owners with. But good service providers should be in contact with you and really trying to do this for you. But make sure you always push on this. As well, a lot of strata, a lot of states mandate that you need to have multiple quotes anyhow. So that just builds in competitiveness as well. Taking this to a vote, it obviously depends on which state you're in as to the laws that you have, but most of the time you're going to just need a majority, 50%, which is pretty good. New South Wales and ACT both have sustainability resolutions. Not sure about the other states. Victoria doesn't. So these are all things you need to consider and then to install. And my final point I'll make before we go out is different ways to pay for this. This is something that an inquiring owner should really make sure. Ideally, this owner is part of the committee as well, and they have access to these sorts of things from their strata company. We, as the company, are able to sort of be that connection point, but if not, a green champion is really what's needed. Good existing funds are ideal. As Robin mentioned, I think that they had a lot of money in the bank spare. This is ideal. Making sure that there isn't any major projects coming up is something to check. Strata committees have maintenance plans a lot of the time that you can check to see if there's anything coming up. If not, use that money, it's great. Special levies are obviously an upfront payment. This can really not be great with some owners, especially as rising strata costs. Anyhow, they don't want to fork out any other money. And strata financing as well is an option. There are loan providers that specialize in strata, not many. We've had chats with Bright about trying to set up something for strata, but a lot of these lenders don't like providing for strata, and so you are quite limited in what you've got there. But again, go out, shop be competitive, because you really want to make sure that you're, even though we're all very environmentally passionate, I think cost is and return on investment unfortunately plays a really huge role for the rest of the committee and the rest of the owners, especially when you've got a lot of investors.